Give me your bets, give me your insights. I want the bets from Betting Weekly. Because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It is Friday, the 18th of April, and you with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright today. Really pleasant, gentle intro, which doesn't really precede what could be a manic show, Jack. We're in the middle, right in the middle of half times here in English Championship, lower leagues as well. Hope you're doing well. I know you've been keeping the eye on a lot of games.
Yeah, greetings to yourself, Steve. Greetings to everyone. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, that was definitely the calm before the storm, that music. So I have got my eye on a few games, a couple that I flagged up prior to the kickoff, just to know there's a lot of strength in second half goals. Obviously, want to be getting involved in those. One of those, there was a goal just before half time, Preston QPR, but I like Bolton Wickham. It's in League One, so I like that's 0-0 currently. Expect there to be at least a goal. But you can get on now at plus 150 with Bet Rivers for over 1.5 goals. Reading Lincoln is another one. I fancy Reading. They're right on in the playoff places. The pressure's on. They need to get a win there at home to Lincoln today. Plus 115 for over 1.5 goals in that one. Or you can take the Reading win. But Lincoln seemingly having a go by the looks of the stats in play in that one as well. So I like Leyton Orient and both teams to score in that one. So 0-2 currently. You would suggest that there'll be more goals in that game as well. What else have I got? Bristol City, red card there is a warning flag. You're concerned about it, but you expect Bristol City to go all guns blazing against Sunderland, who've already got their playoff place assured. So I'll be looking at them tie no bet at plus 102 Bristol City. Expect some rotation for Sunderland. Wrexham are currently behind at home. They're losing 1-0 at home. Bristol Rovers, who are in the relegation zone and have lost their last 6 on the spin. Wrexham closing in on automatic promotion. That won't help them. So plus 230, if Wrexham can turn that round, I think that is very doable against this Bristol Rovers side as well. So they're edging it so far, Wrexham, as far as the stats are concerned, but Bristol Rovers are in front. And I do fancy goals in Norwich. I left the best till last. Over 5.5 seems a very high line. It's 3-1 to Portsmouth at the moment. Norwich will have to come out of this one. The fans aren't happy. I watched the first half of this one, obviously being my team. But over 5.5 goals at plus 108. Sometimes when there's a lot of goals first half, they don't come out in the second half the same way. But Norwich will have to fly out, look to get goals in this one. They've got the team to do that. They do score goals. Portsmouth are killing them on the break, though. Should have had more than what they've got already. So that one I expect to stay the same. Plenty of ammunition on the bench as well. So plus 108, I think for me is my best bet at the half time in that game.
Yeah, straight in with some bets. And I mean, there's 3 that catch my eye right now. I've been watching Watford Burnley, really good contest actually. I think the goal line in play over 3.25 goals is worth backing here. I think there's at least one more goal in the game. You could just back Burnley, but Watford have been just swinging. I mean, they might as well. We've got nothing to play for, and they are a genuine threat. So I think the goal line over is probably better. You mentioned that
you look like they've just gone 2-0 up, mate, as well against West Brom. I don't know if that was on your radar or not, but
no, that match wasn't actually that one match. A really tough one, but you mentioned it there. Bristol City against Sunderland. Actually, betting's closed. As betting suspended, There might be a goal.
That's a free kick for Sunderland currently. So
I'll come back to that game then. But Middlesbrough against Plymouth over 3.5 looks good to me. Looking at the stats and stuff, has been end to end. A draw is no good for either team at all.
Correct.
Draw's no good, and I think there's at least I'd say over 3.5 goals. I need 2 more goals in the game. Plymouth are swinging, Middlesbrough are swinging. You wouldn't trust either defence, so I really like the over 3.25 goals there. And then, like I say, this Bristol City game, Bristol City now on the money line at plus 205. you can back them -1 on the Asian handicap, which basically means if the match ends a draw, -1 Asian handicap from a 0-1 game state. If it ends a draw, then you'll get your bet refunded. But Sunderland have been down at 10 men since the 10th minute, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a long way. Towards the end of the game, they are really going to struggle here, Sunderland. So I think Bristol City have to be a play in some form. And if it stays 0-1, I'm going to keep betting them. So those were the three that stood out to me.
That was just a yellow card, by the way, Steve. That the reason it was suspended there, Bristol City. So nothing to worry about. They just need, I'm sure, part of what Liam Manning's team talk will be is don't give the referee a chance to even this one up. Keep 11 men on, and we'll get back into this one. So,
well, welcome in to everyone. And if you've got any live bets, put them in chat now. I mean, I can only keep my eye on a couple of games. I'm sure there's people here watching all sorts. If you do like any in-play bets, then put them in. But good to see Byron, Zayty, Ming Chung, Stephen from Lynn, Rick Haley as well, Daniel Lucani, Diski, Adam Thompson, Ray, Villafan.
Villa's catching up on Villafan's catching up on 1.5 speed. So, he's get those in-plays in. Don't blame him. Birmingham is another one. How that 0-0 with Crawley. Birmingham have won promotion, but they lost recently in the EFL Trophy. It's still half-time there. They haven't kicked off in the second half yet. Crawley need a win. They're in the relegation zone, 6 points from safety. So they're at that point where they've got to come and have a swing, even though they're against effectively the champions in League One. So I know it's a little drop down in standard, but keep an eye on that one. Currently, Birmingham are still like -$2 to win at this moment in time. But I think I expect goals there, actually. So, keep an eye on it. It's nothing to pull the trigger on just yet. But I think as we get into the show, we might be talking about something else. Keep a note of Birmingham, Crawley. If it's still 0-0 as the game goes on, get involved in that one.
Stephen from Lynn, first time here. He's taking the family to watch Crystal Palace tomorrow against Bournemouth. Do check out the Premier League show. What's the bet there? Jack, briefly, what would be the bet if you had to pick one?
We're split. I remember Stephen's commented on our YouTube on the video, actually.
Has he? He has watched it already.
He has watched it, yeah. And I believe we might well have a difference of opinion. I think. I can't quite remember, but yeah, that's a tough one to call. But I'll do a spoiler for that particular game because it's not the strongest one. But I fancy Palace to bounce back in that one. And obviously 2 really heavy defeats over the last 7 days. And they've been pretty strong. But Glasner said, throw that one in the bin. We need to go again. Cup semi-final on the horizon. There'll be a few players there with places to play for. So that's one to, I'd side with Palace.
Lovely Sells has been put out of his misery already. Yeah, Burnley win to 0 was his bet. That went down after about 5 minutes, I think, sadly. In terms of the Frankfurt game yesterday, Byron, and Beggars End, yes, the Goose did go out of my house from yesterday. But the Frankfurt game yesterday, the biggest wager on the soccer at Bet Rivers yesterday was on the Spurs-Frankfurt game, and it was on Spurs. Tino bet +110, and it was a winner. So I know a lot of people in here and me and James were not really high on Spurs. We like the goals angle. That didn't happen. A very rare Spurs clean sheet. I mean, you can count them on one hand for the season, can't you?
Yeah.
And also, there was
one finger.
15,000 nearly on Lazio to go through against Bodo Glimt -139. They lost on penalties. Tottenham to go through live at +110 against Eintracht Frankfurt as well, and also on the money line 10 grand on Spurs. So Tottenham, this was a really bad result for the sportsbook. Actually, clearly no one was listening to this show. Good job, because Spurs won again. And well done to them. It was absolutely bonkers, the Europa and Conference yesterday, Jack, I've got to say. It was
absolutely. What absolutely wild, wasn't it? It was great to see. So absolutely. One of the games we did skim past, we did mention it, Leyton Orient have got that goal. So the both teams to score landed as expected, has come in and they've made a comeback. So anyone who did dally in that one, there's the goal we wanted there. Someone there, James, has mentioned these poor baggies look horrid. Him and Sean Calvert will both be drowning their sorrows tonight by the looks of it. 2-0 down and a man down as well. Red card for West Brom in that one. That one obviously looks game over. Callum Styles with his second yellow, which means a red. So he's off. So it looks like Frank Lampard's Coventry, as we were obliged to call them, are back to winning ways. And up to 5th in the table. Playoff place.
Swansea have scored against Hull. I actually looked at under 2.5 goals there at half time. I'm glad I didn't take that now. But I mean, we obviously
Swansea battered them by the looks of it in the first half.
Yeah.
They've been in really good form under Alan Sheehan, come in as an interim manager until the end of the season. He's done so well. He's looking very likely. There was a bit of discontent between the Swansea fans saying they didn't really want him, but he's come in and done exceptionally well. They got a good win at Sunderland last weekend, and they're winning here against Hull, who need the points because they're in that relegation fight as well. But he's done really well, so there's a good chance he might well cop that job full time if he keeps going as they are.
Yeah, there was a strong link actually with for the next Swansea manager, a manager in Sweden right now, Kim Hellberg at Hammarby, is strongly linked with that job. Probably join them in the summer. The last time a Championship side poached a manager from Hammarby, probably worked out quite well. Marty Cifuentes at QPR, I think, has done a fairly good job overall. Yeah. With difficult club to manage, aren't they? So it'll be interesting to see.
Difficult fan base, isn't it, QPR? Full of like dodgy characters, that lot.
There's a good question here from JC. Do we trust Sheffield United? And to be honest with you, we are now going to go through the four. We've got 4 games to discuss today: Sheffield United, Cardiff, Oxford, Leeds, Rennes, Nantes in France, and Espanyol, Getafe. Sheffield United against Cardiff. This match kicks off in about an hour and 20 minutes, Jack. I mean, to be honest with you, the results of these games now will have an impact on how these two teams feel heading into the contest at kickoff.
Yeah,
but I mean, Sheffield United, I can't believe it. It's almost like beyond my wildest dreams that they lost 3 games in a row. As a Leeds fan, we didn't expect it. I never saw it coming. They look decent fixtures. I mean, this one again looks like a good fixture against a Cardiff side who are one of the worst in the league. If Sheffield United can't rebound here and win, I really think they've got massive problems. But could you trust them at minus 215?
The bottling it? No, I can't. It looks like Bristol City have equalised against Sunderland. That's one of our in plays for certain. So that's a good start. Good point. So that's a good start to second half there. No, Sheffield United, three straight defeats. Certainly looking like they're wobbling big style, aren't they? So it's a massive time of the year, isn't it? You can see that now with Burnley today. Portsmouth have just gone 4-1 up at Norwich, so that the goal there, which we wanted, sort of, has come for that trend to continue. And I think that with this Sheffield United side, I say Burnley are stumbling today. We know Leeds, you've had your problems and your wobbles, but my bet here that I really like is both teams to score in it. It's something that Sheffield United, if you look at the stats across the season, they look really, really strong. They started off incredibly, didn't they? Especially at home. And that's kind of even itself out a little bit now. So both teams to score, yes, for me at minus 109 is the play, because as you've said, both these sides have got to go and win this game. Absolutely right. So minus 109, you look at Sheffield United at home, they've conceded in 7 of the last 8 home games. Both teams to score has cashed in 5 of the last 7. And Cardiff, the one concern you've got for Cardiff, as you say, they're terrible, or have been certainly, is their 2 performances on the road at the 2 sides fighting for this automatic promotion alongside Sheffield United haven't gone well for them. They got beat 5-0 by Burnley at the start of the season, and you lot smashed them 7-0 a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? So that's a worry, but I think they'll score. 15 of 21 road games for Cardiff have seen both teams to score this season. That's 71%, but incredibly, 12 of the last 14 road games is both teams scored for Cardiff. So got goals in them, and I think Sheffield United are wobbling at the moment. And as I say, I think with both sides needing to go for it, kind of a Steve Wyss theory game, although at the different ends of the table, coming out swinging.
I'm just looking at Cardiff's results here. I mean, I remember that 7-0, and that was one of the worst performances I've seen from a team. And how are they getting so many points? It just shows you how poor the Championship is, Jack. That I think they're awful. And it's Sheffield United, if they can't get a win here, then I think you can almost write them out of the playoffs.
They met in the cup, didn't they, recently, like an FA Cup, but Sheffield United completely rotated that. So anyone taking that as a form line, I think they changed all 11 that day, and it was 1-0 to Cardiff. So ignore that, I would suggest. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cardiff get an early goal in this one, mate, and really put the cat amongst the pigeons and really get that Bramall Lane crowd on edge. So, I think that's the way to go with that one for me.
Does Nigel pay you extra for working on Good Friday, says Meninda? Are you on double or treble pay today, Jack?
I'm on treble, mate. Yeah, I don't know about you. How about you?
Yeah, well, I won't tell, but it's and I'm sure you were jumping at the top of the queue to get on this show today, and Monday with Lewis Jones as well. Bank holidays over here, of course.
Well, tell you what, Steve. If I wasn't here, I'd be at Norwich versus Portsmouth. So I'm absolutely in the right place right now. I'm happy to be here.
4-1 to Portsmouth in that game. Just looking through here. We're going to talk about the Leeds Oxford game for a minute. Cardiff are fighting for their lives, as Meslier's goalkeeping coach says. I do like that both team to score angle, actually. They're another team, Sheffield United, have been bailed out by their goalkeeper quite a lot this season, and it's just he's not been able to save them of late, has he? So I think that's a fair call. I can tell you now, though, the bettors are not put off by Sheffield United's poor form. 98% of the money is on them on the money line, and we've got 89% of the money on the over-under line is on the over. Both teams to score. This is a note from producer Troy here. Both teams to score, yes, has hit in 8 of Cardiff City's last 9 championship games as an underdog. So that's a very interesting stat
as well.
So that really just back up the both teams to score angle there.
They're prolific. Obviously, given the season, they'll be underdogs more often than not, but they certainly are tonight, and it fits what we're looking for as far as that's concerned. So, I think that for me, that's the way in on that one. And I say this time of the year is good for the fact that it suddenly becomes nothing to lose football, doesn't it? Or to a certain degree, teams are going to go for it.
God, it suddenly just got very, very dark here. So if you can't actually see me properly, then I have to put a light on in a minute. This is ridiculous. It's 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
That's because Burnley have just taken the lead at Watford, mate. That's why
I can hardly see my notes here. I can hardly see my notes here, Jack. Needleman, thank you very much for your kind words. Terrific content. He says thanks to us all. And Burnley, I've not actually seen the goal yet, but I've seen it come up on Flash Score. Are apparently due to score a goal here. Just watching it in play now. The cross comes in. Really poor defending. There's a header, and Burnley do lead. I did say get on over 3.25 at the interval, and I'm sure a lot of people did back Burnley some teams are auto bet when they fall behind, and there's a goal Bolton Wickham used as well. You said there, didn't you, Jack? To get on the Asian goal line at half time. 1.25 was it 1.5 along those lines. Okay, Oxford Leeds. Oxford did us a mighty favour recently, the Leeds, by beating Sheffield United 1-0. I mean, they're fighting for their lives. They've had a couple of good results, which has kind of, maybe put the pressure off them a little bit. Leeds we had our wobble and we won the last 2 games. I mean, to be fair, I think we've been quite good the last 2 games. Whether, is this a tough place to go? Daniel Farker actually used those words at the press conference, tough place to go. The Kassam Stadium, It's got 3 sides. I don't know. Would you agree with him? Is it a tough place to go?
It's not quite Bolivia, but I guess it's just awkward, isn't it? Because you've got that open end, as you then said. It's not often you go to a place where there's a car park like you're shooting towards. So, I guess it's got an element to it, but not on a day like today. I think if there's a squally wind blowing and it's coming straight through, obviously normally they're used to playing in sheltered conditions. So when the wind is completely coming straight through, I think it'd be a problem. But it'd be glorious there today. So not a problem. Daniel's just kind of getting the excuses in early, but I don't think you'll have a problem tonight. There's a huge game for Oxford on the horizon, and they plan Derby on Monday. That's got to be. I know they can't.
Derby have just lost today. A bit of a surprising loss, actually. That one, a really bad loss for them. The pressure. And so suddenly for Oxford, I can see they might. Of course, we've got to remember this is a mad period for games, right? Teams may well be not necessarily resting and rotating, but will have their eyes on potentially the next fixture in some cases. And this could be an example of that with Oxford, perhaps. Yeah,
the one thing I'd say is that obviously Luton winning that's now closed them further up because they were like way off the pace, but they're now 5 points behind Oxford with that win. So again, it brings them again. Those sides are now a lot closer together. So I think Derby 43 points, Oxford are 48 points. A win for Oxford tonight or on Monday. You got to say they're safe. They're close to safety at the moment with Hull, Derby ahead of the relegation zone below them. But I feel that there's a chance that they might rest a couple of key players tonight to make sure they can go into that Derby game really full strength with no excuses. I don't think they really fancy their chances against Leeds. To be fair, Kieran Brown's missing for Oxford. Is a massive player for them. Central defender, tall, strong. He's the guy that will tend to clear everything that comes into the box. So I would think you're very strong from set pieces. I think there's a few of the longer odds Leeds players I kind of like the look of tonight that might well have an impact because they're going to be missing a key element of their defensive process from set pieces and crosses into the box.
Yeah, Leeds will be probably missing Dan James, set to return on Monday. He might be available today, but I don't think we'll risk him against Oxford. Minus 345 Leeds. So, I mean, over 2.5 goals is minus 125. Leeds do keep a lot of clean sheets, best XGA stats in the division, and actually got a semi-competent goalkeeper in the sticks at the moment. Cardalo, he's doing,
don't rub it in. Meslier's sacked goalkeeping coaches in the chat. Look, come on.
Anyone would have been an upgrade on Meslier. But, I mean, how can we make money on this game then, Jack? You mentioned some player props there, perhaps, to take a look at. Anything in the main markets at all?
Do you know, I kind of fancy that there might well be goals in this one, over 2.5, because of the fact I think there is a chance that Leeds could go with it. I've seen someone in the chat already go with Leeds win at under 2.5 goals, which is quite an aggressive play. I think on that basis, rather than going for that bet, personally, who am I to question what they want to do? But I one of the ones that was... depending on team news, if I do see that Oxford are going to rotate a fair bit, that Leeds win to 0, minus 103, that does have some appeal to it. If you want to get Leeds on side, I'd potentially go down that route because obviously under 2.5 goals and a Leeds win, they're going to win to 0 if that's going to cash anyway. So I don't know what the odds are on that bet that guy's particularly put forward there, BB Sports. But obviously he will need Leeds to win that 1-0 or 2-0 anyway. So something as an option. But obviously you do get your 3-0, 4-0 and bigger in your pocket for that as well. But yeah, the players I like, I always like Leeds fullbacks because they do bomb on and they get involved quite heavily. So the likes of Bogle, Firpo, again, obviously wait and see a bit on team news. Strike, is he doubtful, I think, isn't he, for this one? Is he out?
I think he's done for the season. Yeah, I think he's done for the season. Yeah, he got knocked out at Kenilworth Road against Luton in a bruising encounter, and that's him done for the season. So,
yeah. Well, the guy I was looking at anyway on the basis of that was Joe Roden, who I think will kind of step up a little bit in his absence, be the main target. Mentioned that Kieran Brown missing for Oxford. Roden will be the target, I think, going for those balls into the box and set pieces. So expect him to get available. He's a big price. He's plus 1,600 to score at any time. So I think that might be worth a little look. He's quite an attractive ball playing defender as well, isn't he? So you wouldn't be surprised to see there's an opportunity for him to drive forward with it, continue his run, and he could find himself in an advanced position. But rather, Leeds have got so much in those attacking areas. I like to go for those bigger prices. The likes of Bogle, Firpo, plus 290, plus 360 just for a shot on target piece. And Roden, no shot on target odds, but plus 1,600 to score anytime.
Yeah, in terms of, no surprise here, 99% of the money on Leeds, 99% of the tickets on Leeds. It'll be a good result for the sportsbook if Leeds don't win the game. And I kind of agree with you here. My gut feeling was over 2.5 goals. I just think a lot of the Leeds night games, the Leeds, we know they have a bad record at 12:30 kickoffs local time. But Leeds in the evening games, they always have goals in them, but there's a real more open feel. There's a real edge to the contest. And, even if Oxford didn't score, Leeds can get 3 goals themselves, sort of thing. Wouldn't shock me. They don't need it for goal difference. That's the thing. And I know Leeds win to 0 has been a really popular bet this season, as well as, all the 3 teams at the top that's been a go-to bet for a lot of people, hasn't it? But I do think, that team news for Oxford is very relevant, like you say, Jack. And I think you've got some very good points with with that now. Just looking at these games here, now this Middlesbrough game against Plymouth, this can't end 1-1, surely. Over 3 Asian goals. I'm just striking now here, minus 105. There's got to be at least 3 goals. Draw does. For Middlesbrough, their playoff futures here on the line. They have to score again in this game.
We talk about we talk about it could be cashing the overs in Norwich. Norwich has scored, so that's cashed for anyone that followed me in on over 5.5 goals. I lost count of how many goals there have been. Over 5.5 goals. That was an easy winner, wasn't it?
Wow.
So what we're talking, I think what we talk about XG. That's what I was going to say. XG, and what I like XG for is certainly in play, where you can see some stats and saying that sides have had 15 shots and so on and so forth, but they could be from anywhere. Especially if you're not watching the game, you can't see it. If you go into the XG, I know if you have a high amount of shots, it's going to crank up the level anyway, the number anyway. But if you've got a decent high number XG, it just generally mean they're getting in some good positions and not taking advantage. So that'd be the ones I'd be more inclined to be playing for goals than games that had a lower XG. And this one is pretty high from what I can see at the moment. Plymouth have got a XG of 2 in this. They're actually winning the XG battle. Game's tied at 1-1. So I think you've got to look, as you say, with both sides desperate for a win. This one is a perfect.
I'll put this game on now. I've switched from the Burnley. The Burnley game's done. Watford are down to 10 men. That's going to end either 2-1 Burnley or 3-1, 4-1 Burnley. Hopefully there was another goal in the game for the better had at half time. But now Middlesbrough 1, Plymouth 1. This is just, I love these sort of situations towards the end of the season. Teams are desperate. Certainly Middlesbrough are. And Plymouth, to be fair, if they win the game, they're off the bottom in play. And I know a draw wouldn't be maybe shocking for them, but they're so, their need of points is so desperate that they can't turn down the opportunity to win the game. So just looking at some comments. I mean, Byron says Leeds have a good defence, but Oxford scores nearly every game. Do they have a chance to get one? Of course, they've got a chance to get one. Leeds have conceded goals recently against Preston. I think the only clean sheet Leeds had was against Middlesbrough in the last 6 or 7 games. The change of goalkeeper might help Leeds there. Interesting stat from producer Troy. Leeds have won each of its last 6 night games in the Championship. Do have a good record in the evening. Both teams to score yes has failed to in 8 of the last 10 at night, which is that's a great stat actually. So I mean, based on that, you'd be looking at Leeds win to 0, wouldn't you? but there seems to be split between people thinking Leeds win an over 2.5, Leeds win an under 2.5. The general consensus is that Oxford aren't going to get anything here. So you get Leeds on your side in whatever form you want. We move to a couple of other games now, and I've got a really good play here in the French game, Rennes against Nantes. I had a bit of a nightmare with the cards. I had a bit of a nightmare with the cards yesterday, I must say, Jack. 2 of my referees that I do love the unders with, Turpin and Anthony Taylor, just got involved in some crazy games where they couldn't not give the cards out. The players were behaving ridiculously. This is a match I do hope there's a lot of cards in. This is one of my automatic go-to bets for over cards. Over 4.5 cards is my play here. I'm also going to back red card, yes, because this is the Derby of Brittany. This is the biggest match in the region. There's tons of teams in this French area. Rennes against Nantes. The two sides absolutely hate each other. And the average cards per game in the last 10 head-to-head meetings is 5.3. There's been several red cards in recent meetings as well. Nantes definitely, they need the points. They're 13th in the table. They're only 3 points clear of the drop zone. Rennes are kind of mid-table, and they're going to finish mid-table. So in terms of the match result, there's an old saying, Dan Romert would probably card me for this, but for a derby game, throw the form book out the window, genuinely. I just think match result, anything could happen here. If I know Nantes are not known for being particularly great away from home, but they could easily get a result here against their bitter rivals. And it's also, when there's more of a risk of a red card, I think it's dangerous to get involved in the match markets and the goal markets for that matter. But gun to my head, I would say draw. If you can't decide, take the draw. And I think both would probably take a draw right now. The referee in charge is Abdul Latif Karaji. And this is a real journeyman referee, Jack. You'll appreciate this. He has gone up through the ranks, 64 games in the 4th tier of French football that he officiated, then 88 in the 3rd tier, 86 French Ligue 2 games, and this is his first season refereeing in the top flight. And he's had 14 matches, and I've had a look at all the games he's been given. This is now his big moment. This is the most high-profile game he's been given. So it's a big test for the big night for the referee here. How is he going to cope with his first proper, tasty, feisty game at the top level. And I've seen some referees in this position before, and they kind of crack a bit. They don't know what to do when that first really big incident happens. How does he control them? But proper journeyman made it through the ranks, which I'm sure you can appreciate that, Jack. Did you have a look at this game? Did you like anything in this game?
Not really, to be fair. I was stretching a little bit. If I'm going to leave it to you. I'm not going to even put forward what I was going to say. You're the French expert, of course you are, and nothing really left out. People do like the player selections. Espanyol was that one player that caught my eye. Scored against Le Havre last week, didn't he? In that 5-1 win, and 3 goals, 4 assists. Kind of been playing pretty well recently, so he's plus 290 to score or assist. So that was a tentative play on the player side of things. But I'm with you as far as I'll jump on your bandwagon there, even if you are calling me a journeyman.
I think even the ladder's coming out here, for cards. For those who can bet on, for those who can bet on them, over 4.5 at -103, over 5.5 at +180. And maybe even a little bit of pizza money on over 6.5 cards at +310. I mean, this fixture last season had 10 yellows and 1 red. The previous meeting this season, 2 reds and 2 yellows. Red card, yes, is +310. I think that's a bet as well. Some players, this is not official plays on the players, but players to watch out for, to be carded. Espanyol again. He's going to be heavily involved here, both in terms of the footballing side and the dirty side. Christopher Wu as well. Ludovic Blas, I noticed Bet Rivers haven't priced him up. This is a former Nantes player who plays for Rennes. So, I mean, you don't often get this sort of divide where players move between these clubs. So I think they'll try and wind him up. Nicolas Palois, the old journeyman at the back for Nantes. This is a bold-headed, proper, stuck-in defender. He's got the most cards for them this season. And he wears, if you cut him, he would bleed FC Nantes. He really would. So Nicolas Palois is looking at, and also Douglas Augusto. What about both teams to score yes in the game statistically? I think this is a sort of game which could go kind of over a lot of things. Maybe you could get a wild one. So maybe both teams score yes could be an option. I mean, I don't trust either defense. So that's my answer there, Disc. My answer would be yes, actually. But again, in the derby game, throw the form book out the window, throw the trends out the window. Anything is possible. So it's a tricky one.
Bristol City have just taken the lead against Sunderland, Steve. Norwich have just conceded the 5th against Portsmouth. I don't know how many people are going to be left
Watford
in there.
Have 9 men now. Watford.
2 men sent off there. I mentioned Leyton Orient at the start, didn't I? At half time, they were losing. They're now 4-3 up in that one that I said was good. I fancy for both teams to score. So that's gone erupted in the second half, certainly. And Charlton have gone in front against Northampton. Wrexham have just equalised. I mentioned Wrexham at the top as well. Wrexham have just equalised against Bristol Rovers. That's 1-1. Are they going to go on to win it now? I wouldn't be surprised.
How are Birmingham and potentially Wrexham going to get on in the Championship next season? I suppose that's a question for another show, isn't it? But there's a lot of hype around those 2 clubs right now. They've been making money for a lot of people this season as well, Jack, it must be said.
Yeah, it's Birmingham is a bit like a kind of unfair. Really, it's like having a horse as well in a race and not having any extra weight on it. Haven't had it won a few. They've spent so much money for that level, spending like £15 million on a striker, and the previous record was around about 4 million. So it's just gone mad as far as Birmingham are concerned. I think they'll find it tougher than they maybe expect in the Championship. It's not an easy place to go. They've not been overly convincing, despite getting 90-odd points this season. They've kind of huffed and puffed a little bit at times, that they've got the job done, won by sort of fine margins. So it'll be interesting. Recruitment, as always is when sides get promoted from one league to another, recruitment will be key for them. So I expect them. I personally would put them probably in the top 10, but not necessarily get them back-to-back promotions.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes. It really will be interesting to see how it goes. Just some moneyline stats, trader stats for that game. Rennes, that's where the money is, 95% of it for that matter. 62% of the money on the over-under is on the over. Both teams to score, yes, just hitting 10 of Nantes' last 11 away games in the league. So that might be where this is perhaps coming from as well. The stats there do point both teams score, yes. And yeah, Watford down to 9 men now, as we said.
Still 1-1 Middlesbrough, mate. How many times you pulled the trigger now?
I'm watching that. What's happened now? I won't be pulling the trigger anymore now because I think Plymouth look happy with a draw. I disagree with that. I think they need, if it was me, they need a push. But or maybe they're waiting for Middlesbrough to go gung-ho and just get everyone forward, and then there's going to be gaps. I still think there's no goal in the game. It's got to be.
What I'd say, it is a really valuable point for them because they've got minus 38 goal difference. And as it stands, that would keep them 2 points from safety. So that if they obviously lose it and they lose that point, they in essence they're 4 points away from it. So
yeah, I mean
it keeps them within striking distance.
There's a guy down now, and he's time wasting. It's a fake injury, and they're just having a pit stop basically. So I'm not going to get involved again now. I still think if Middlesbrough are any good, if they've got any worth about them, they'll win this game from this position. But Bristol City, that's a really good one for us, isn't it? We've said that at halftime. It was obvious, but you've got to bet the obvious sometimes, right?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you can try and talk yourself out of it, and that red card was the only thing that was a worry. But Bristol City have been really good and really strong at home, so I like Bristol City before the game. So the fact that they're playing against 10 men, really, and such a long time, I think that did give us an opportunity there. So yeah. So that's good. Yeah, we've done all right actually from the couple that we put out at halftime.
There is Good Friday action in LaLiga as well. I swear down, these Friday fixtures that LaLiga put up always have this sort of the lower scoring teams on reputation always seem to be involved. And here we are again. Getafe are on average, I think, the lowest goals per game in the whole division. However, recently they've been involved in a lot more overs. Espanyol have been one of the most improved teams in La Liga.
Yeah.
I think this could be quite a good game. I think this could be more open than people think. Effectively, now it's near enough a mid-table battle, really.
It's got that way, isn't it?
4 points between the two teams. The pressure's off them a little bit. This isn't. I mean, in the first half of the season, we'd have this down as a 0-0. The goal line is very low at 1.75. Or 2 on the Asian mark. I mean, if for a 1.75 goal line, that's a suggestion that the 0-0 detector is in operation. But you only need 2 goals, and you're cashing a winner. So that I think they could be. Or both teams to score could be an option here. I'm not so sure this is a banker board draw as some might think.
I'm with you, Steve. I bet both teams to score looked a brilliant price to me. And so I think possibly there's a bit of historical stuff being put in over the course of the season. Recent weeks, these two sides have been very different animals, haven't they? And Espanyol have got themselves into that point where they're now 6 points clear of the bottom 3. So they're, as you say, this is getting more and more like a mid-table clash than anything else. So Getafe disappointed. We talked about it during the week, didn't we? Ourselves about Las Palmas beating Getafe last week. So I think both teams to score plus 120. The recent stats certainly back it up. 6 out of the last 7 Espanyol home games seen both teams to score cash, and 6 out of 8 across all venues for Getafe. So I think they might well come out here going both teams swinging, and we can cash both teams to score. Or if you want to probably play it a little bit safer, go on that Asian too.
Yeah, Sam Rattlehead makes a good point there. In 2025, both clubs had at least 2 goals in all their games, bar 2, and the trends are definitely. This is where you are better off looking at more recent trends and more recent performances rather than the whole seasonal stats, because there's definitely been a marked change. And I think also confidence is going to be high with, especially Espanyol. When you're down there battling relegation, the nerves, just looking at Plymouth now, you can tell they're nervous. But the nerves won't be there for Espanyol now, and Getafe as well. They don't need to fight for these 0-0s. This could, you know what? I don't think I probably would go crazy here, but if you got say a 2-2 draw, over 3.5 goals is plus 525. You know what I mean? Normally, over 3.5 goals in some leagues, you're getting minus money, isn't it? Over 2.5 goals is plus 195.
Yeah.
You don't often get over 2.5 that big anywhere in the top flight league.
No.
But I like that. Both teams score, yes, plus 120. My play would be the Asian goal line of over 1.75. I can't believe I'm saying that. I hardly ever get the chance to bet over 1.75, do you? And if they stink the place out, have a 0-0 Friday board draw, then fair play to them. But there's that's got to be a penalty for Mills. No, he's not giving it. Sorry, I'm getting a bit excited here, Jack.
Wow.
This looks like a clear penalty to me. What is the referee doing?
This takes us back to the last game of the Premier League season last season.
There might be a betcast on the final game of the season. We don't know yet. Talks are ongoing, I do believe. If you do want that final round betcast, do let us know. And we might be able to arrange it. But
I've done a lot of great shows with Because We Win, but I'm going to have to put my neck on the line and say that was the best one I've ever been involved in. I loved every second of it.
It was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? Neil Channing, especially, was memorable that day. But yeah, hopefully we can do it again. Where are we? We're going to do some stats that game from the traders. This is a much more split game. 55% of the money line is on the money line is on Espanyol. The bettors trusting them. 70% of the tickets on them as well. 85% of the money on the over/under is on the over. So they're bettors thinking along.
Yeah,
there you go. And you could, if you do if you're willing to gamble over 2.5 goals, you could get richly rewarded here if these teams can find a way to hit the back of the net 3 times.
Yeah.
And
we always talk about early goals. If there's an early goal, then you could open it up to be anything really, because there's no point. There's neither side's going to settle. Needs to settle. Do they? They'll just go for it and have a fun Friday. Really, to be fair. Exactly. Preston 1, QPR 1.
Yeah, I was actually looking at under 2.5. If that had been 0-0 at half time, I was going to bet under 2.5. But there was a very late goal. There was a lot of goals right on the button, weren't they?
There
right
was.
On half time.
Yeah, mate. I had them down as actually overs in the second half because they've got really good stats as far as recent stats between those sides and similar sides for goals in the second half. So that was on my pre-kickoff shortlist to be talking about today. And Preston ruined it with that late goal in the first half.
I think I've backed the only match here that hasn't had a goal in the second half in the Championship. I mean, thankfully, I've had some winners as well.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing, isn't it, when it doesn't go to logic? But I mean,
who don't follow the Championship and are going to have a bet over the last couple of weeks, Sheffield Wednesday might be a decent side to fade. They're losing 2-0 away at Stoke today, but there's been problems with their ownership and the fact that they've not getting paid. They've got paid very late for March, and that's never. Huge. Yeah, but Mark Robbins in there is
looking good now to survive.
To look out for.
Yeah, they're looking
very
now good.
So, yeah.
That's going to be a massive win for them today. Motivation is a huge part now in any of these English leagues going forward.
So that puts Portsmouth above you. Oxford, obviously, Oxford dropped down a place now because of that result there. Goal difference, funny enough, like they've gone a point clear, but now Portsmouth have got their goal difference to -13. Oxford is -17. So that brought them closer to that relegation zone, which is obviously not good news for you. But again, does it possibly mean they're going to look and focus more on that derby game on Monday?
Yeah, that's a huge game. They can't afford. I say they could afford to lose the game, but they don't want to lose that game against Derby on Monday. So I'd imagine they'll be having their eyes on it. They just literally named A in the chat there. A betcast for the Football League last day would be mental. So many teams with so much to play for. Did you watch it last year, the Premier League live betcast on the final round? If not, then you can probably check back. It will be there somewhere. Beggars ends in. He's all in on the final day as well. The demand's there, Jack. So we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I think it's on Sunday.
The money and the customers talk, mate. That's what I'll say.
They certainly do. But I think that pretty much covers it today. You got the Porto, you've got a bet in the Portuguese league. Portugal against Famalicao. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, very briefly. On this one, I've just gone with both teams to score in this game. It just stood up as far as, again, the stats were concerned, with how these sides have kind of played over the course of the season and in recent weeks as well. I'm trying to frantically find my notes on it. They're here somewhere, but yeah, it's both seem to score at -114, and I haven't done it just because it rhymes. So it's yeah, it kicks off quite soon. It kicks off in an hour and 15 minutes. So
now the table, yeah. It's
yeah.
I mean, Porto is the sort of the team you'd expect to score in any league game, really, on their own. It's Famalicao here. The team. I mean, Porto have had a pretty poor year for them. They're not even in the top 3 in Portugal, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think they are there for conceding goals. When you look at it, they got smashed by Benfica in their last home game, didn't they? 4-1. Both teams to score. I was on both teams to score that night as well. So 4 of their last 5 have seen both teams to score cash. And that's generally what they've played against sides that are 5th, 1st, 8th, and 2nd in that run. So up the top end of the table, a bit like Famalicao are. The one that didn't was against the lower ranked side in AVS where they won 2-0. So I'm happy to kind of draw a line through that, really, to be fair, and say that when they've been playing recently against sides that are in the top half, then both teams to score works for me there. And then you look at Famalicao as well, very much a win to nil kind of outfit at home. But then when you look away from home, their last 3 games, including a trip to Sporting, which I like is a real good form line to draw. They lost 3-1 at Sporting. Last 3 games, both teams have scored in it. And it's actually been 8 of the last 11 road trips for Famalicao have seen both teams to score. So I thought that was a decent price at -114.
This is just looking at the league table in Portugal. It's going to be an epic title battle. Benfica Sporting on the same points. They meet each other in the round 33 out of 34. That is the definition of a title decides. That's on the 10th of May. Is that going to be on one of our live shows? Are they going to put that on a Monday or not? 10th of May. Let me just have a look. It's on a Saturday, so we can't really get involved. Maybe mention it on the Friday. Maybe even if you're on that Friday, Jack could say something. And Porto against Famalicao, both teams scored. Yes. And have you got best bet for the matches that have yet to kick off from earlier that we talked about?
That is my best bet.
That's the one.
That is the one. Yeah. And if not, going a bit later. So if you're watching this after an hour and a quarter's time, then Sheffield United, both teams to score against Cardiff, would be the one that I'd go with there.
Okay.
Both teams to score this time of the season's kind of clicking quite regularly because for the reasons we talked about, with sides either having to go for it when they possibly wouldn't do so normally, and other sides kind of relaxing a little bit as well. So it opens it up a bit, and we've seen seen that cash quite regularly. Look at some of the scores today; you'll see that 3 3s and 4 3s, and even the odd 5-2 in there as well.
Do you subscribe to the Betting Weekly newsletter? I think has the inside been released today or not? Yeah, and if it's not, then there's still time. For those who are not subscribed, Mandeep Singh's up for the final day live betcast as well. Yes. And my best bet today would be in that Nantes game. Nantes against Rennes against Nantes. It's got to be the over cards for those who can access that market. It's usually a bloodbath and a referee who, like I say, this is his big day for him. Let's see how this referee copes in the derby of Brittany later on.
Steve, with a couple of minutes to go, I can't believe that we've not had a goal in Middlesbrough or at Birmingham Birmingham either. Unbelievable.
It's one of those. It's one of those, isn't it? Where everything. We watched the XG for the Middlesbrough game. It must be wild. Something like, just looking now. I mean, this is on Flash Score, so it might not be. Bloody hell! There's a combined XG of 4.5 here. Nearly.
Yeah, that's what I've got it as well.
So what can you do? Sometimes it's not destined to be, is it? But what I will say is, I say from the 75th minute, Plymouth have been happy with a point. So at least they've stopped getting involved again. We'll see how long's left. They've not put the board up yet for the added on time. But there's been 35 shots in that game. Middlesbrough won 11 corners. And there's 7 minutes added. So there's still time for those. I need 1 more for my over 3. I need 2 more for the over 3. I mean, the over 3.5 is done. Although funnier things have happened. You never know, do you?
Well, one could lead to 2. If there's one either way now, then we said there's obviously the other side going to go for it.
Score it because it would have come up on the score. They've just wasted 2-on-2, Plymouth. Like this is one of these games. Stupid. I mean, the decision making there. This is what it's going to be like on the final day betcast. You know, if it happens like that.
Absolutely superb.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll call it a day.
Hang on, Borough on the attack.
Don't tease me. Don't tease me, Jack.
I am going to tease you.
Tease me. Well, it's betting suspended. It's betting suspended. If it's suspended,
betting is now suspended as well.
Hold on. Let's wait and see.
No.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Jack. Enjoyed this one. And it might be similar on Monday. I've got Lewis Jones on the show. We're going to be looking. We've got Premier League game on Monday as well, of course. I think Forest are in action.
Penalty Middlesbrough.
Is it? Hold on a minute. Yes, it's been given. So I might get. We've got to stay. I think we've maybe got to stay live on air for this.
See, this go. Look, we're on time and a half now. So
you're gonna know if it goes in before I see it.
I'm not going to say a word.
There's a red card as well. There's a red card here.
Another red card.
I mean, let's just have a look at it. I mean, VAR might be checking this. There's no VAR.
Oh no! Celebrate wild. VAR is not in the championship.
I completely forgot that for a minute. I'm just so used to it now. Whenever there's a decision, you think VAR. What's VAR?
No, you can celebrate. But there's been 1, 2, 3, 4 games.
This is harsh, I think, but I'm not even sure this is a. Has he clipped him? I'm not even sure this is even a foul. If it's a
goal
foul,
at Norwich, by the way. Anyone over 7.5, then that's cashed.
Norwich 3, Portsmouth 5. Who had that on their bingo sheet today? I mean,
I said it was open. Like that first half was ridiculously open, and I knew there'd be goals in it, but I only went over 5.5.
We didn't even talk about this game. Blackburn 4, Millwall 1. Where's that come from?
Well, that shows you the end of season nature that we talked about, isn't it? The fact that like these ties are generally quite cagey, low scoring, get to this point of the season, and suddenly Millwall were closing in on the playoffs unexpectedly.
I can't even watch this now. I've had to switch to because I'm going to be put on my misery or know the goal. I think it might be a goal. I think this might be a goal.
It is a goal.
I'm well behind. So, 10 seconds behind here. He's stepping up. We know it goes in the back of the net. So I've got one goal back. I've got the over 3 pushed.
Well, still time. You've still got 4 minutes, I'd imagine.
Twist that knife, Middlesbrough, and get another goal. Plymouth go for glory.
Plymouth have got to go for it now. That's a huge goal for them, like we talked about. That point is a massive difference for them. Massive difference because they're now 3 goals and a huge goal difference away. So they're now more than a win away from safety.
They put the pressure on Coventry there. Frank isn't maybe smiling as much now. Well, there's still 4 minutes to go. The crowd are going ballistic, celebrating into the crowd here and everything. This is what you get at the end of the season, Jack. You get these moments, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd need to look at that again. I mean, I'll take the goal, but I feel a little bit sorry for Plymouth there from what I saw. Maybe there was contact, but it didn't look completely obvious to me in that regard. Klaus Locker, before we go here, Sheffield United versus Cardiff. Do you think over or under 2.5, Jack? If you had to pick one.
Over. Yeah. I think both need to score. So, again, I think that's going to lead itself to going over 2.5 goals because Sheffield United are going to need to win, given that Burnley are now 1 and you play after them. So they're going to have to win.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck with those plays later. Thanks very much. Enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun, actually. Thanks.
It's always good when it's that live action going on.
Yeah. Thanks everyone who came in. I say we've got Monday. We've got Lewis Jones on. We've got Premier League action, and we're going to be right in the middle of Championship games as well. So it could be quite similar. Again. And this is kind of maybe a warm up for the end of season betcast, maybe on the final day of the Premier League season.
It might be. I think we did all right in the end, didn't we?
Done all right. I mean, we've done all right.
One. Yeah.
I mean, it's the Stoke game, not the Stoke game. Sorry, the Bristol City game, especially. That has served us pretty well on it today. So, thanks, Jack. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Easter.
Very much enjoyed it.
And
good luck to your boys tonight.
Yeah, I'll see you all on Monday on the Betting Weekly Live. Do check out the Premier League show. Betting Weekly Extra Time should be out pretty soon as well. Actually, that was a great. We had a really good recording this week. I know you guys did as well. It was full of laughs. And Dan Robert was doing his wallet was out, and our show as well.
Again?
Yeah, it was out. Yeah, I mean,
he risked it.
It's light enough after he's
Unbelievable.
lost all his money on the draws in the Champions League, isn't it? So it's not too heavy for him. But yeah, anyway.
Hopefully
yeah.
he gets his wallet out as frequently when we go on our end of season dinner. That would be a turn up for the books.
Yes, certainly.
We'll see.
Okay, we'll take care, everyone. Remember to gamble responsibly. We'll see you next time on Betting Weekly Live. Have a great weekend.